I want things to always be right between us. You are the only thing that matters to me. I just don't ever want to let you down. That's how I want to start today's show. And it's exactly how Natalie Harp started a letter to her lover, Donald Trump. Let's do it. Stand up. Thank you for being my guardian and protector in this life. Yeah. Okay, the letters are out. The Daily Beast put them out. Hello, I am out. I am here with you. It is Friday. I'm Pete Dominick. Thank you very much for pressing play on my daily show. Joining me on today's show, my very special guest, the best Trump impersonator in the country, one of the funniest comedians I know, and one of the sharpest political analysts and cultural commentators I know as well. JL Cauvin is back. We always love him, and he is here with us today. Very excited to share that conversation with you. But first, I've got your headlines and a clip show for you here Friday. I usually try to get the show up by 7 a.m., but haven't figured out how to do that while doing video. I'm getting closer, though, now that I'm on YouTube and Substack at StandUpWithPete. If you're not liked and have a free subscription, much less a paid one on Substack, I would love to have you sign up right now. Please join me on the journey as we spin around on this rock here, as I call Earth One, where we care about science and we're anti-racist and anti-sexist as we can be, open-minded, and we care about each other and strangers, actually. Thank you very much for joining me and for getting a paid subscription if you can. Patreon.com/Pete Dominick or Substack at StandUpWithPete. All right. Well, thanks to everybody who is a paid subscriber that joined me at last night's hangout. We had a lot of fun on the Thursday night hangout, almost 2.5 hours. There's like 40 or 50 people there, and it's always great to see you. And it was an awesome time. So I hope to see you next Thursday to build our community, support our community in all the different ways. There's so many people who have made friends and connections through the community, and it's awesome. I love being a part of it. All right. That's it. Let's do it. Headlines, clips, JL Cauvin coming your way now. I'm going to start with this story from Tuesday. The Trump regime advanced a plan to open nearly 45 million acres of wilderness and national forests to road construction projects and logging, removing protections that have been in place for a quarter of a century. That's just crazy, and it matters for a lot of reasons, but these areas that were roadless, he's now, of course, building roads. We can stop him, and it's going to take time to get this done. The federal government, by the way, in a related story-ish, is apparently, the New York Times has this story, they're quietly rounding up wild horses on public lands and selling them to buyers who then ship them off to be slaughtered for meat. It's like some kind of private equity scam of some sort. Not exactly, but either way, they're killing the wild horses. Did anybody elect any policymaker to kill America's wild horses? You know, if you elect me, all the wild horses, we're going to kill them and sell them for meat. Everybody wins. What? Crazy. All right, I got to mention what's happening in Russia. Their attacks in Ukraine continue. Overnight Thursday opened a deadly air assault with a volley of ballistic missiles that resulted in several explosions across Kyiv, and apparently like 40,000 people sleeping underground in the subway stations there. It's bad. They don't have the missiles to intercept, and Russia is taking advantage right now. Also, General Fatton this week promised an economic D-Day against Iran, a signal to Iran that he does not want full-scale war again. So they've got him on the run, us on the run by default. Terrible. Here's a bad sign for the economy. Walmart apparently posted its slowest sales growth in years. As, well, what's happening? I don't know. Maybe Americans are reining in their spending. The company's stock fell almost 10% on the news. Here's more bad news. That's what this is. It's the news. We don't talk about the people who haven't been bit by ticks and got Lyme disease. We talk about those who have, and it's been the worst tick season on record. Yet still, most of us didn't get Lyme disease, or even worse, alpha-gal. But that's as a result of climate change and the fact that the nymphs can last through the winter longer, and it's going to get worse. You got to protect yourself. When I read this story, the New York Times has a deep dive. I just ordered some more of that chemical that seems to work, the 0.5 pimyrthin. You spray it on your clothes. I have to be outside. I'm not going to let the ticks beat me. Well, also, let's see, what else do I have for you? It's been the worst tick season on record. Northwest Indiana has been without power for 9 days. It's a travesty and it's a problem, and I think it's a black community, and I haven't read into it, but I want to make sure I mentioned it. Dictator Tot is now bringing IndyCar race to Washington, D.C. this week, just tying everything up, destroying D.C. Traffic is horrible, and it's going to go around the National Mall like 147 times, apparently, this IndyCar race. It's going to also really be bad for anybody who wants to be there or lives there, apparently. Yesterday, the dummy spent 30 minutes showing off his White House construction projects. That's what he spent 30 minutes doing. Great. Meanwhile, FBI agents searched the home and cell phone of the disgraced former Congressman Eric Swalwell as part of a federal inquiry into his sexual assault claims against him. I don't know. I saw some experts talking about this yesterday, saying it looks politically it looks like a political witch hunt of some sort, because Eric Swalwell, of course, was on the January 6th committee and a harsh critic of Donald Trump. So they're going after him. But, well, he made his bed, too. He gave him plenty to go after, apparently. The beleaguered aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln's work in the Middle East is complete, and the ship, along with its crew of 5,000 sailors, has begun its journey home to San Diego on Thursday. After 9 months of deployment, another carrier, the Japan-based George Washington, has taken the Lincoln's place, and one might argue that's a result of good journalism. A lot of independent journalism and others making that story a big story, and it worked. Also, in a related story, in this morning's installment of What the Absolute Fuck is Happening, brought to you by this motherfucker. Go get this motherfucker anytime you want to try to understand why this is happening. It doesn't help. It's a shitty product. I don't know why I did a live read for it, but that is a story about this U.S. aircraft carrier that was going to be named for a black Pearl Harbor hero, is now potentially going to be named in honor of, guess who? Yeah, they're replacing the black Pearl Harbor hero, whose name is Dory Miller, with Donald Trump. President Donald Trump's name may go on instead, unless we make a lot of noise about it. By the way, Dory Miller was the black Navy sailor who, during the attack on Pearl Harbor, he took control of an anti-aircraft gun and fought back, despite having no formal training on the weapon, and he was awarded the Navy Cross for his extraordinary courage. What has Trump done? He stole his classmates' medals for the class picture when he was in the military academy in high school, which is not the real military. That's what he's done. Nothing. He's done nothing. He's never fought. He's had everyone fight his fights for him. It's just crazy that they would possibly put his name on an aircraft carrier in replace of him. Let's see. What else do I have for you? A Florida school board that was at the epicenter of the national debate over COVID mask mandates and book bans just lost its conservative majority on the school board. Love to see it. Being involved in school board fights in my local community, it has been really, really just vindicating and redeeming to see these wins. Two Democratic-backed candidates beat out conservatives in the school board election in Sarasota, flipping the board's majority, including, I think, the original Moms of Liberty founder got pushed out as well. Well, the First Lady showed up for the first time since the World Cup back in July 19th, apparently, was her last public appearance. She was there to launch some kind of scholarship for $2 million. And apparently she opened her speech with, "I heard you missed me. Here I am." What? Yeah, we all know why she was there, because the top story of the week is about Trump's lover, or I don't know, human printer, the sycophant that follows him around. Whether they've had a sexual relationship or not doesn't really matter. She is wildly inappropriate and a national security issue. Natalie Harp is who everybody's talking about. So yesterday, that's why we saw from Melania. And he walked her out, and she was smiling, and she was holding his hand. So I don't know if that was extra, if that cost him extra, but I bet you that's the deal. I bet you she makes him pay for whatever appearance she's going to do just for being there, because she never wanted to be there. But she'll take the money because she's almost as bad, if not worse than him. Well, nobody's worse than him. Here's some good news, though. The nonpartisan Cook Political Report has officially shifted the Texas governor's race in favor of the Democrat. What? Her name is Gina Hinojosa. By the way, am I pronouncing that right? After more than a decade in office, Greg Abbott is facing his toughest re-election test yet, as polls show the race is in a dead heat. Texas is in play. I think it's fair to say, and that's good news. And those are the news stories I've got for you in the headlines segment. Now it's time to get to your clips. Time for the clip show. First of all, this is podcaster who everybody loves because she's always ranting and raving in a way that makes you feel heard and seen. Jennifer Welch telling Fox News viewers that they're brainwashed, I guess.
Anybody who watches Fox News willingly is signing up to turn on the television and say, lie to me. I'm an idiot. Lie to me. I want lies. Gaslight me and lie to me. Why is that? Because Fox News was sued for lying to its viewers about the voting machines. The voting machine company sued Fox News and received $1 billion in damages. And Fox had to say, okay, we lied. So knowing that, how stupid are the Fox News viewers? They literally are saying, here's my remote. Lie to me. I want you to lie to me. I don't want to know the truth, which is why Sean Duffy doesn't want his daughter going to Harvard, which is why they want to keep everybody in bubble wrap, in this crazy batshit bubble wrap. But we will break out of it. We will march to the midterms in the biggest amount of numbers imaginable. It has to be too big to rig because they will try to cheat. I don't trust Elon Musk and all of his satellites. I don't trust any of them. But if the turnout is so massive that they cannot overcome it, that's how we send a chill down every single one of their spines. You are not in control of us. You only temporarily have these jobs for a finite amount of time, and you're fired.
Jennifer Welch, good stuff, as always. And I've been hearing about this Sean Duffy thing. He's the transportation secretary, and apparently he's doing a reality show. I think they contractually have to do a reality show if you're a cabinet secretary, because aren't others doing that as well? Who else is doing it? I forget. Anyway, Sean Duffy and his wife do a reality show. They met on a reality show, I think, and that's their qualifications. And apparently they have this conversation with their daughter about where she's going to go to college. They discourage her or even forbid her. I don't know. I haven't seen it, but I'm going to watch it with you right now.
Can't say no.
To Harvard?
Yeah.
Well, me and Mom can say no.
Catholicism to us is everything. It's the basis of our marriage. It's the basis of our family. So I'm nervous about the idea of Paloma going to Harvard. We spend a lot of time nurturing and providing formation for our kids, giving them an environment where they are steeped in faith and values. And so the idea of dropping her off at a place that would undermine that or try to undo all those things makes me worried.
And again, I don't want them to get one viewpoint. I want them to get a lot of different viewpoints. But I don't want them fed only one viewpoint that's contrary to the way my kids were raised. Listen, my problem is we have thought about how we raised you and how hard we've worked to, I think, raise what is a remarkable young girl. If I send you there, I think what happens is they have professionalized figuring out how they can take good young girls like you and, I think, corrupt their minds. You don't have to believe what I believe. You don't have to have the political viewpoints that I have. But I do think it's important that you make those choices for yourself and you have a fair representation of what they are. And I don't think the Harvards of the world give you that kind of well-rounded picture.
Wow. That is something. That poor girl. She's potentially going to get into that school and they can afford it and they won't let her go because they don't want her to, I guess, get brainwashed by being able to make her own choices. Isn't that really what we heard? We have been sheltering you and making choices for you, and we're afraid when you leave, you're going to learn stuff, unlearn stuff, and make your own choices. That's what school does, by the way, right? Isn't it supposed to teach you a whole bunch of different things? But I guess they don't teach the conservative viewpoint that they homeschooled their kid with. Ugh, wow. Wow. Okay, what do I have next for you? Right, it's the new nominee for Senate Democrats in Florida. It's Angie Nixon. She's on Meet the Press or on NBC with Kirsten Welker yesterday, and she does not take the bait, and I absolutely am here for it. This is really a very real moment, I feel like.
Why join the DSA if you disagree with various parts of their platform? does it not just become a distraction from your own campaign and your own agenda?
You all are the only ones that are distracted. I'm actually going out talking to voters about the things that matter to them. And so we should make sure that we're pivoting to the right conversations.
Yes.
The fact remains that there are people who are dying because they don't have access to quality health care. Meanwhile, Ashley Moody voted to end the ACA subsidies. As I stated, nearly 300,000 people fell off the Affordable Care Act rolls. There are people who are dying because they don't have access to health care. Also, the fact that Ashley Moody is corrupt, right? She's corrupt. She allowed $10 million that was supposed to go towards the most medically needy kids to be diverted because they wanted to defeat 2 citizen-led ballot initiatives. The status quo is broken. People are losing their minds right now and taking their lives and even taking their children's lives. And the people at the top want to stoke division and want to push this hateful rhetoric. At the end of the day, I have always been about the people of Florida, which is why my campaign is Angie for Florida. I want people to no longer just survive. They deserve to thrive and flourish.
Very quickly, because I know that you have to go. Congressman Jolly says he is a capitalist. Would you call yourself a capitalist, or do you reject capitalism?
Oh, come on.
I live in a capitalistic society. I'm a small business owner. I like to make money. I don't see what the problem is.
So are you a capitalist?
I'm a capitalist who believes that we need some strong regulation.
Okay. All right. And will you campaign with David Jolly? Are you planning to campaign with him?
I don't have a problem campaigning with anyone on the Democratic ticket that is for actually having quality health care, that's for actually expanding access to universal child care. I want people who want to improve the quality of life for all Floridians. I'm sorry, I am still operating on a minimum amount of sleep. But I am out here just, talking to people. I'm super excited. Look, y'all, it doesn't have to be this way. I believe that hardworking, everyday people should get to shape what our communities look like and what our economies look like. Instead of this billionaire class that is actually running the show, I'm ready to put the power back in the hands of the people.
Well, how about that? What'd you think of that appearance? Love to know, because I thought it was real. I think that's a good point. It doesn't have to be this way is an actual interesting talking point or argument to be made, because I think everybody knows to some extent what that means, because that's how we feel. I thought that was great. And I love that they keep trying to put these candidates in a box. Are you a capitalist or not? Her answer was pitch perfect in my mind. Okay, let's move on to another Senate hopeful. It's Abdul El-Sayed. He was on MS Now with Jen Psaki, and he savaged his opponent, Mike Rogers, and I wanted to share it.
Thing about the Iran war from voters in Michigan.
It's funny. Mike Rogers is now trying to make a play, he says, for Democrats. And I've been talking to Democrats for 15 months. And ever since February, when they kicked off this ridiculous war, it is one of the only things that I hear from Democrats. Why is it that a guy who said that he wanted no new wars, that he was going to America first us, that he's now, it seems, putting America last, to the drapes he wants to put in the White House, and a war that he seems not to know how to get himself out of. So, just a pro tip here, Mike, if you want to win Democrat votes, you're probably going to have to start talking about the ridiculous war that we shouldn't be fighting in Iran. But he does not want to talk about any of those things because he knows that he is stuck in a bind. Every single time he shows up to any conversation that's at all objective, he's going to have to answer for Trump's ridiculous policies, which he can't answer to without pissing off Daddy Trump. So here he is in this absurd bind, and it's better for him to just dodge. So he's continued to do that. Instead, he takes softball interviews from Fox News or News Nation or Newsmax, whatever that is, and he's trying to avoid having to actually answer for the public policy of our country right now, which is raising our gas prices, which is spiking the prices of homes, which is spiking the cost of healthcare, and is not addressing the challenges that we all face right now.
Wow. Well done. Well done. I think that guy will go anywhere, by the way, unlike his opponent. He'd probably go on any of those networks. Abdul El-Sayed looking great on MS Now yesterday. Here is our Treasury Secretary. His name is Scott Bessent. He's a real piece of shit, real sack of nothing. And he cannot seem to figure out what is happening, why oil prices went up. Here's a quick clip of him.
I'm confident that bonds will continue declining. We've got a spike in oil prices today that I don't really understand.
a spike in oil prices I don't really understand. Maybe don't say that if you're the Treasury Secretary and talking to reporters. Maybe we do. You don't understand it, huh? That's all we're going to hear. Okay. Well, finally for you on today's clip show, it's Rosie O'Donnell, who has spent the week sitting in for Jimmy Kimmel, and it's been great, a lot, but nothing was better, in my opinion, than this ending of her monologue last night on ABC.
And I'm about to sing a song, sadly, usually in the wrong key, but I make up for it in enthusiasm, okay? I would like to close my final monologue here with a traditional Irish song dedicated to a very special boy. Oh, Donny boy, it's Rosie calling from Hollywood, the Jimmy Kimmel Show. Drop that Big Mac that we all know you're holding, because, my dear, I worry for you so. Poor Donny boy, your polls are falling. Your reflecting pool is green as Mountain Dew. Your wig's a mess, your ballroom is appalling. And with Naran, you bit off more than you can chew. Measles are back, inflation is a swelling. You post all night, you're sleeping while you work. And what's with all this useless crap you're selling? Hey, sweetie pie, you're driving us all berserk. But there's a way to end this drama. It's time to use that stable genius brain. Since we all know you'll never be Obama. Why not resign and make this country great again? Yes, we all know you'll never be Obama. Come on, resign and make this country great again.
Wow, she really nailed it, too. It's a really funny written song, and she nailed the performance. Rosie O'Donnell, well done. Always been good to me, and I'm always rooting for her as well. Okay, well, that's your clip show for today. Now it's time to get to my conversation with JL Cauvin, who you can see coming up at a whole bunch of different dates I mentioned in the interview, I believe, so I don't need to plug it right now. But check him out. Get him a cameo. Buy a cameo. He did one for me and Glenn Kirshner over the weekend. It was amazing. Go subscribe on his YouTube, his Patreon, and see him live. If you get the opportunity, I think that's the most important thing to him. See him live. Here he is, ladies and gentlemen, my conversation with JL Cauvin. Yeah, JL Cauvin and I are live. We're live on the internet. Welcome back. Thank you very much for joining me. It's great to see you. Your hair looks great, and you were a huge hit at this past weekend's Justice Matters annual gala event.
Yeah, well, that's what I do. I do free content for adoring fans.
It's going to get you into a lot of new places. Matter of fact, I know that Glenn Kirshner himself, massive media presence. He's like the Oprah of legal analysis in independent media. How's that?
And you're his Dr. Phil.
I'll take it. And he was so impressed. Basically, for folks who don't know, of course you don't know, most of you, I asked JL to make a video as Trump roasting Glenn Kirshner, and he knocked it out of the park. Glenn thought it was hilarious, and I know he reached out to you. What did he say?
And I quote, "Justice matters." And that was it. Like, I could read between the lines. It's his I am Groot. You just really can interpret a lot of things through that one phrase. Have you not seen Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah, I've seen Guardians of the Galaxy,
okay.
But
that I am Groot comparison deserved a lot more than a blank stare.
Oh yeah, I didn't. Maybe if you were a Guardians of the Galaxy fan, you would have given it that. But
no, he wrote a very nice message, both about the video I did, and then wanting me to come on, his YouTube channel and really sully it up.
That's great. Yeah, he's like, I didn't know he was a lawyer. I was like, yeah, so many people still don't know the legend that is JL Cauvin. Well, I'm happy.
People don't know I'm a lawyer, that I'm a comedian, that I have a pulse, that I live. You know, it's just I'm America's best kept secret.
JL Cauvin, America's greatest victim.
Well, take that, Trump. Take that. He'll be pissed to hear that.
Lots to talk about. I want to start with a somewhat serious notion or idea, because I wrote just randomly on Threads the other day, and it resonated a lot, and that it got more than my usual 3 likes and more like 8,000. But I
just took my like away, hoping to be the change I want to see in the world.
You just unliked it to lower? Fair enough.
Is this live on Threads as well? I retweeted it, but I just want to make sure I'm pumping this content everywhere.
9,600 likes. This is what I wrote. I just want to get your reaction, and I wanted to start here tonight. What I wrote was, when Joe Biden was elected, we cheered in the streets. We thought it was over. Not a day goes by that I don't think of that. This is somehow a nightmare, an alternative stimulation. To think that he was reelected after all that he did is still every day a very hard thing to accept. I feel like you go through that once a week or once a day, because you're just constantly reminded that he's there and he's constantly being a nightmare.
Yeah, my most recent post that didn't get nearly that traction was, no one hates Trump supporters more than Trump. It's the one thing I respect about Trump.
Yeah, I saw that.
And it is, I just want to be there when some of them, when reality hits them. That I don't know how it is. It's the cultish sort of mindset, because it's like, still with him? Wow. This isn't even about politics. It's like, you're still with objectively the worst president in the history of the country. Like, just taking term 2 Trump is blowing term 1 Trump. Term 1 Trump was like Barry Bonds pre-steroids. Absolutely Hall of Fame, 5-tool awful president. Awful in all the ways: character, accomplishments, capacity for the job, integrity, decency. This is juiced up Trump. This is like, oh, I'm hitting 80 home runs of garbage. I am the worst thing we've ever seen as a country, not called slavery, native genocide, or Jim Crow. He's a Mount Rushmore. As I have said this before, he is a Mount Rushmore American tragedy. And I believe that. Like, people say, what about the internment of the Japanese? FDR didn't run on interning Japanese. That was a horrible, unconstitutional response to a frightening emergency and war. Bad, unconstitutional, disgraced as it should be. But FDR didn't spend his 4th term in office trying to undo the weaponization of the Supreme Court, who decided against him. He didn't spend half of his time in office trying to tell you it was actually the Japanese American families who were the real villains in the internment story. Right. That's the difference. Donald Trump he can never really beat genocide, Jim Crow, and slavery. Like, there is a ceiling. There is a bigot glass ceiling keeping him at number 4. But just the fact that he is the 4th worst thing in American history, I think, is incredible and awful.
But even though you rank him that way and make a great argument for it, obviously nothing can be worse than the examples you gave: genocide, slavery, and Jim Crow. But there is something unique about him, and that's he has to, given our media landscape and the technology the way it is, but he has to insert himself every single day, whether it be on camera or on social media, by doing something absolutely crazy. And that's not like anyone before, not like obviously terrible U.S. presidents, much less Hitler, Mussolini, or like he's ever present, which goes back to my point that it's like every day trying to get away from it, but he's always there making sure that he's a huge bag of shit, and a lot of people still seemingly are okay with it.
That's why I never get tired of being angry at the kind of Democratic Party squabbles. I'm all for, hey, if a DSA member can win in your district, go ahead. If a centrist can win in your district, great. This is like the fact that we keep having these kind of intra-party civil wars where I'm just like, no, all of the above. If you can win in a district, go win it. And let's all decide to come together. I would like to that we could all come together after primaries and after elections and say, okay, we're not all identical, but we now clearly have a common problem. And I feel like we don't still do that. We still prioritize like corporate centrists are the real problem. I'm like, not when Trump is around, not when MAGA exists. Sorry. I know. Anyway, whatever.
The way forward, as long as Trump and MAGA exist, cannot include much disagreement or squabbles from the rest of us.
I just wish I had more faith in our party. I'm fine with, I said things, about people I ran against, and then ended up voting for one of them happily. But a primary should be a time where adults can have honest, sometimes harsh disagreements because they have a vision and an idea for where they want their party to go and their country to go. But then the adult thing, it's kind of like hockey players shaking at the hands at the end of a playoff series. It's like we beat the shit out of each other. We played hard. We fought for what we wanted. And now it's over. Shake hands. Congratulations. Good luck in the next round. That's kind of the way we should be. But I feel like we let the bitterness linger. And then if we had only done this.
Be more specific about what is being talked about that maybe shouldn't be. What is being squabbled about that is a distraction or is creating a problem for the objective, which is to defeat fascism, Trump, and MAGA.
I think there are, I like Mamdani, and I think there are people in the DSA who are solid, good people and great energy for the party. That's been lacking. I think having new energy, and somebody like Mamdani, I'll be interested to see if he can rally the troops for Hochul when she's up for re-election, because if he can harness, that will be as important a lesson as anything. If he can harness and use his credibility with the sort of left to support a more centrist governor who supported him, that's the message I want to see, which is like, I will bring my energy to other candidates who aren't necessarily completely aligned with me if they represent the better of the options. I think other than a few DSA, like Chevalier, the woman in the South Bronx, I thought a lot of her stuff was like beyond the pale, to be honest. But I just think there is an element to some of the DSA which is opportunistic in that this is our chance. We can paint the Democratic Party as like a stale corpse of failed pragmatism. But is the long game smart to just kind of treat the Democratic Party as like an almost equal co-conspirator to MAGA? Will you end up weakening it? Even if it gives you a few more wins in primaries, will you have weakened what still is the infrastructure that you need to defeat Republicans?
There is a feeling.
On the flip side, just to show, on the flip side, I also think, with some exceptions, there is this kind of willingness by some Democrats and, of course, right-wing media to portray some progressives and far progressives winning as the end of America. And I'm like, where was that? Why was it when Trump was falsely addressing or insincerely addressing some of the issues that affected the white working class? It was it's the fault of Democrats because they created this situation where people were so desperate they would seek solutions in a charismatic carnival barker. And yet when Democrats go a little farther trying to come up with new solutions and new energy to address problems within their own party, it's also the Democrats' fault for going too far or not doing enough. Never is it Trump and MAGA and Republicans' fault for any of this. It's heads we win, tails you lose thing that still that's my problem with some of the critiques of DSA is that it's like, yeah, well, some of them are energy that's needed, and some of them are seeing problems and trying to come up with solutions that are at least people-centered, not lies that Trump was saying simply to say, Hillary doesn't care about you. Oh, yes, you're speaking to my values. I hate women as well. Thank you, President Trump. So that's kind of my beef, if you will, is that I wish I could trust in the broad population of progressives or left of center or center people to just sort of say we can have a fight and understand we have to come together once we've settled who's winning where. And I'm not sure that is because I think some people see opportunity for power, maybe from a righteous place, but they see an opportunity for power, and that may bite you in the ass if you do too much damage to whether it's progressives winning or centrists winning.
It might bite you in the ass in terms of winning in a general, much less getting something accomplished once you're part of the Democratic caucus. And I think that there's a lot of ignorance. I'm happy to have the excitement to have people be part of the political process and to be caring about what's happening and paying attention. But there's a lot of also ignorance about how governing works and how you get 218 votes to pass legislation and how you would get rid of, in this case, a potential speaker, Hakeem Jeffries. And folks, a lot of people making comparisons to the Republican Party and how they couldn't govern and they couldn't keep a House Speaker and they couldn't get it together. Of course, Nancy Pelosi historically was probably one of the most effective speakers ever, certainly in our lifetime, at passing legislation, certainly during the Obama administration. But these ignorant folks who don't necessarily were happy to have them engaged, but they really don't seem to understand necessarily how governing works. And you got to win primary cycle after primary cycle before you're going to be able to have enough DSA members or far left progressives where you're going to be able to change the Speaker of the House and get some of this legislation passed. And finally, Trump's still president. So even if you take the House and the Senate, he's going to veto almost everything, unless he dies.
Yeah. And I got to say, this Natalie Harp is giving Selena fan club president energy to me.
In terms of...
Some people got that.
The woman who killed Selena was a psycho.
She's her fan club president, but obviously had some issues.
I was going to ask you about, I wanted to hear your petty sexist jokes because it's okay because it's Nancy Mason, Natalie Harper is her name, and Caroline Leavitt. There's three women in Trump world and MAGA world that have cozied up to Donald Trump right there, and we should be not kind to them.
Well, I'm gonna be kind to Caroline Leavitt for a second. I'm gonna quote a Shaq meme where he says, "Excuse me, I was not familiar with your game." Seeing her shed the sort of press secretary clothes, not bad, Caroline Leavitt, in some of her more casual attire.
All right, I didn't know that's what you were doing. You're saying this young, she's like, oh God,
Pete, I'm 47, and Caroline Leavitt allows a man in his 60s to raw dog her. So don't tell me that I'm being inappropriate. I'm too young for her, Pete.
Her husband is, and she's got her second child with him, right? He's like 68 or something.
Yeah,
he's not a great guy. You did a video, I think, about him that made me laugh really hard. I forget what you said.
Well, I referred to him ejaculating as dusting on her. Because he's so old.
What do you got on this Natalie Harper? Go back to her. What do you think of the story? Everybody's talking about this woman who, and there's some pretty good journalism, I guess, by Maggie Haberman and others that have revealed like notes that she's written him and shit. And it's not in any way appropriate or normal. It's really creepy. It sounds very bad for all kinds of reasons. Does it mean anything at all?
Can I answer it as Donald Trump?
Oh, I'd love to. I was going to try to walk into some of these latest videos.
So here's the thing about Natalie. Natalie, we call her Natalie. And she is a wonderful person. And she sort of looks like a store brand version of Ivanka. Like if Ivanka is sort of like the Tiffany bracelet. She's sort of like the Mel's Jewelers version of the Tiffany bracelet of Ivanka. So when she flirts with me, it's like a safe way of kind of having Ivanka flirt with me. But excuse me. We've read the incest laws very strongly. I've had some. Todd Blanche has looked through all the incest laws, and if it's just a woman that you're not related to, and by not related, that's second cousin or further, so she could technically be slightly related. If she is what we call not related to you, but she looks exactly like your daughter, it's totally legal to fantasize, to flirt, and to even have relations with her.
So bad.
It's called legal. We obey all laws.
Called legal. We obey all law. I love, by the way, at the end of all of your videos, at the end of every Trump impression, you do that face. It makes me it's a good gimmick to get you. You're supposed to, you get more money or you get more credit or whatever it is, the longer someone watches your videos. I wait till the very end for that hilarious face. You've had some very funny videos that you've been posting as Trump.
Put out a Scott Jennings one today, since there's talk he could be in the running for press secretary. So I put out my latest Scott Jennings video.
Yeah, I think I could share that maybe.
And it's a short one. It's only 54 seconds.
There he is. Is that you?
That's me.
President Trump, it would be an honor for me to serve as your press secretary. As you know, I once served Mitch McConnell, who is now a festering corpse of demon flesh. And but notice how I've told everybody I had conversations with him, so I will lie for you. And I know Carolyn Levitt, who did a fantastic job for you. She has an incredible rack, but I want you to remember, before I started overdosing on Ozempic, I had quite the C cup myself. And I just want to let you know, if you want me to shave, I will, but I'm trying to grow out a beard right now. I figure if it works for Josh Hawley and Tim Scott, when in Rome. Am I right, sir? But basically, I just want to tell you I'm ready to lie for you, and I've got my knee pads ready. So when you are ready to make that call for press secretary, I'll be there.
That is a great impression and several very funny observations, including one that there's rumors that Scott Jennings likes to have sex with men.
I didn't know that.
There are rumors of
wow.
As you mentioned, all those guys, yeah.
But those other guys, yeah. But that's
very funny.
It's. I want to say though, I sometimes journalists get critiqued for I think you've done it as well, for not saving tidbits and information for books that could be valuable to the public.
Yeah. I've been critical of those who do that, but I
think you got to keep that same energy for gay male escorts who allow themselves to be plowed and plow hateful conservative politicians. I don't need to know that Lindsey Graham's escort wants to talk shit after he's dead. How about sometime during the 20-year reign of terror?
Yeah, I think I don't know if this is an attempt at humor or not, but I do agree.
It's both. It's both a point and a joke. Sometimes the best of us, Pete, you may not know anything about this, but the best of us in the comedy industry can do both.
Yeah, no, that was both, and well done. Well done for sure. It does matter, though. All of it should matter. Justice also is the thing that matters the most, of course. What do you make?
I'm excited to be on Glenn Kirshner's show.
Yeah, why?
And he showed up at the right time, because your audience may not know this, but you rudely canceled on me yesterday. And it was like Glenn Kirshner, it was like being turned down by a girl in your high school, and then the hot college chick asks you out. And I'm saying this, of course, as a 47-year-old man. So in either case, it's kind of creepy.
I did cancel on you, but I also did have something to do with connecting you with Kirshner, a lot to do with it, which was I used you for free, and you made a hilarious 4-minute roast video of Glenn Kirshner, which...
Tell the people, though, on 2 hours' notice. I delivered it right. We talked, and I just did it.
The day before, and you did it that night.
But it was my pleasure.
Really funny, and everybody loved it, and he loved it, and you're going to be on his show, and that's great, because the more people that I think get to hear you and your thoughts on things, the better. And you are one of the funniest and smartest observers of life and politics and culture. And we can talk about all of it, from comedy to sports to, I can't talk about a lot of those things, but you certainly can. And that's why people love to hear from you. And I got to ask you, well, what did you want to say about this Nancy Mace? You made a Nancy Mace video?
Well, I made a joke. I probably did do a Nancy Mace video, but there is something happening. You're watching some of these people crack. You know what I mean? Like the energy that it has taken to remain. I mean, Nancy Mace, let's be honest, is a woman who has survived, I believe she's a survivor of sexual assault. She was not a pro-Trump person at first. And I think it's cracking some of these people where it's like, yes, all the years of basically betraying your own code of ethics, your own sense of self, it's now showing up in like sleeves of tattoos at 50 years old. I said she reminds me, have you watched the Jon Hamm show on Apple TV?
No, but everybody tells me I'm supposed to because I too got kicked out.
Yeah, it's really a show where if you have like a crush on Jon Hamm and then are okay if he's just sort of surrounded by decent writing, you'll enjoy it.
All right.
But Amanda Peet, I said that Nancy Mace looks like if Amanda Peet all of a sudden got hooked on meth in season 3 of Friends and Neighbors. So that's for people who know what I'm talking about.
That's pretty specific.
You
also had this very funny joke about the 13 Penn State fraternity brothers charged with running a major cocaine trafficking ring. Some of the pledges allegedly forced to cut and package cocaine as part of their indoctrination into the frats. And you quoted that news item with the Wire, W-H-I-R-E. Really funny. They're all white boy. I liked it a lot.
Thank you very much.
I reposted it. I thought it was so funny. You don't get too many reposts these days. Nobody does,
No.
But that's solid.
I mean, I do, but, I get that most people don't.
Stephen A. Smith got the thumbs down from the National Association.
Whoa, the what? Whoa, that was 2 letters down the path of hell.
You shared an image. I laughed so hard of a construction sign that said flagger. And you wrote about it with the hard E-R, I think is what. Was that right?
With a hard R. With a hard R? Question mark?
That made me laugh. The National Association of Black Journalists, they gave a big thumbs down to Stephen A. Smith, and that was a big item in certain circles this past week or so. And, well, you're half black. So What do you want to say?
Well, I did. I mean, I won't be the 50th person to say this, but it's very telling that he went to Sean Hannity as his way to show solidarity with black women. And his excuse, I mean, he said it was insane, the excuse he made. And I can understand if he's upset, and genuinely so, and that's fine. But his excuse was like, I was raised by a black woman. I have sisters. I have nieces. And it's like, you got to give me something other than, but I love my family. So how could I be denigrating black women?
How could I be sexist? I married a woman.
Yeah, that's true.
How could I be racist? I married a black woman. How could I be gay? How could I be anti-gay? I'm gay.
I said what I did write in the comments of Stephen A's video on his own page. I wrote, quote, how can I hate black people? My husband is black. End quote. Ginny Thomas.
That's good. I also want to ask you about this stupid publicity attempt. Whatever you want.
Oh, God.
What do you want to call it? Because I haven't paid too much attention to it because I hoped it didn't go anywhere. But a couple of former or NBA players, men, are trying to sign up for the WNBA, claiming that they are trans women. And it's gotten a good amount of attention on the right, a lot. I don't know what it has done within the WNBA, within the conversation and community there. But what do I need to – do I need to pay attention to this?
No. what it is, and this is one of those rare moments where I've donated. I think we talked about a donation I made from my campaign, but I have spoken about the sort of treatment of trans people and how reprehensible it is, and how it's become like this safe punching bag for a lot of people. And it's just despicable in terms of you don't get much more marginalized than that.
Absolutely right. Absolutely.
And so I am not somebody who says you can't punch down in comedy. You know what I mean? I'm fine with punching down in comedy if the jokes are good. Your whole set will get very tired and boring if all you do is punch down. But the occasional, the first time I ever went to a comedy club, I saw this guy T-Rex, a DC, kind of a DC legend.
What is this fucking tangent going to be about?
Yeah, you'll hear. But he did a whole bit on, it was the first time I was ever in a comedy club, and it was just as an audience member, and he was doing a thing about watching the Special Olympics. Now, of course, a lot of people would say that's terrible, that's not cool. It was hilarious, just objectively hilarious. Not for everybody, not everyone is going to find it, but it was really funny. And you felt naughty laughing at it. If you're a decent person, you're aware that you're laughing at something a little bit taboo.
Sure.
And the hackery on the right, and I want to say normally I would put the community and the people being targeted first, but I am more offended at how many people seem to be laughing at this, and it's the most boring, hacky shit, just on a comedy level, and it shows that. And I wrote something about this where I said, as much as it annoys me sometimes where on the left they will claim you can't punch down and they'll write you off if your jokes don't conform to a value structure. But on the flip side, the right seems to be no matter how lame, boring, hacky, repetitive your jokes are, if they're cruel, you'll get a laugh emoji from me and a share. I'll buy a ticket. It's bizarre because I feel like this would be one opportunity for comics who are right-leaning, and they're not all terrible, like this myth of anybody who's right-leaning. The right has no funny people. Sure they do.
Yeah, of course.
But a lot of them check their better humor to go on Gutfeld. And that I find to be artistically disgusting.
Yeah.
You can be a conservative. You're not a sellout if you're a conservative and you vote conservative. You're a sellout as a comic, though, if you do hacky garbage when you're capable of better humor. Right. And the Royce White and Ennis Cantor shit is so hacky. It's like when Bill Maher complains about wokeness, and I'm like, Jesus, it's not 2015 anymore. It gets laughs and applause from
just
people.
To get back to those two guys, just to get back to it, are attempting to enter the WNBA draft as trans men, right? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes. I'm sorry. Yes.
I don't even get and you went to it all being a joke and a bad joke and so on, but it's not a joke. It's what is it? A publicity attempt? It's to prove a point about trans athletes or something. I don't quite.
As I said, there are more men pretending to be trans women trying to get into the WNBA than there are trans women in the WNBA.
That's the thing. It's a weird. I guess that's why I don't get it, because they're not trans. They don't identify that way. They haven't done any of the things that anyone who's trans, the steps you take to transition. It's not. It's dumb. It's so dumb. It's not fun.
It's dumb and it's mean.
How is it? Is it dividing the WNBA community in any way? This issue about trans athletes? Are there any trans athletes trying to get into the WNBA for real?
Not that I've heard. I think it's all been the hypothetical questions. Right. What would you do? How do you feel about that? But I'm going to say, and I'm trying to work on a broader material about this, but this does play into the discussion we're having on a broader level. Between Pete Hegseth, Donald Trump, the Josh Hawley, Tim Scotts of the world, the men doing push-ups outside of Andrew Tate's prison, the Ennis Cantor and Royce White, I believe is his name. Correct me if I'm wrong. But there is, when we talk about a masculinity problem in this country, and just a shout out to Scott Galloway, I hate the fact that nobody ever specifies we have a white male a young white male problem. That doesn't mean we don't have problems with other men in other races. We just criminalized that and treated it like it was a failure of family and culture until it was white men who were struggling. Then it became a crisis for men. I'm not saying Scott Galloway is a bad person at all. I'm just saying it's kind of odd that even somebody as kind of smart and thoughtful as him never makes that distinction, where it's like, well, there were young men struggling in the black community for a long time for various reasons, many of which were unrelated to their own choices and their own family. But that was treated as a you problem, not a we problem.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you mentioned that. I fully agree with it.
And once white men collapsed under Trump, before Trump and during Trump, and found their savior in Trump, then it was all of a sudden young men. We're criminalizing masculinity. We're not, men aren't leaders anymore. And it's like, oh, now that white men are struggling, men have a problem. When other men who are not white men were struggling, that was their problem and their failure and their moral and family failings. But I do think this is another one of those, like, kind of a joke, kind of serious. There is like a heterosexuality problem in the like MAGA movement, a confusion, a discomfort. It's kind of very much a he doth protest too much. And I'm not saying all of them are in the closet or something, but there is this weird obsession. It's an obsession that isn't about, like I said, masculinity. If you want a real man, that used to also encompass keeping your word. If you want to be I'm a family leader, I'm strong, I'm protective, I'm a man of my word, I'm a role model. Now we've abandoned that. It's all about muscles and testosterone replacement therapy and treating people like shit and fighting and talking about like lethality and physicality. And it's like fucking Olivia Newton-John, let's get physical. Somewhere this is not feeling like some Christian straight thing. It's feeling like I'm really confused, and that's why I'm going to hate gay people. I'm going to hate the trans community because it's giving me these confusing feelings while I'm already confused. And I don't mean to simplify this, that we see in Congress, the guy who hates gay people the most, like most likely gay. Like it always kind of happens that way. But in the broader MAGA movement, I don't think it's like the looks maxing thing feels very sort of closeted.
Along the lines of that, I think is within the thread that's the most dangerous part of it is that a lot of those people who think that way, this heterosexuality problem, if you will, in the MAGA movement, look past, apologize, or even find virtue in abusing women so that they can like stay in office, stay in leadership. We used to live I used to think that we all had a general agreement about that. Like, you can't serve in public office if you've been caught physically abusing, assaulting, raping, and that is still the standard amongst most Americans and certainly within the Democratic Party, whatever.
Well, my district didn't vote for me, so at least somewhere that still holds. What?
Yeah,
too far?
It wasn't worth it. Nobody knows about your past.
Oh.
But
as a choir boy?
The part of the strain of that mentality is apologizing for abuse and looking the other way, or even seeing it as like.
Can I tell you something about the Tate brothers, or as I call them, Uncle Andrew and Uncle Tristan? No, in all seriousness, I thought those guys were like bad dudes, like scumbags, but in the like very. Oh, these guys are like misogynistic creeps, and like who would listen to them? But because they were still such big media personalities that I just assumed, oh, these guys suck. But like not like. Then I read a fucking 20-page article in the New Yorker about them, and I had they're like, now everybody's starting to learn, but they're like rapists and like beaters of women and like sex trafficking and teaching young men to basically become like internet pimps. I really didn't. What's so scary about that is I thought to myself, oh, wow, how did these guys ever become like even moderately mainstream figures? These guys are at least Jeff Epstein had to like insulate himself with like blackmail and millions of dollars. And these guys are like social media stars.
The simple answer to that would be the fact that there is a huge pathway to prominence, or rather anyone can be platformed, and you can find any type of person on the internet, anybody who shares your views. And the truth is that the gross underbelly of maybe humanity or men or American men or these types of men is that there's a lot of them, and they find each other much easier on the internet. There used to be gatekeepers before you could get a broadcast platform and say horrible things, but now you can find all the worst people and infinitely amazing people who are nerding out on any number of weird things, from mushrooms to Dungeons and Dragons. But yeah, there's a lot of shitty criminal men, and you can find your niche. The upsetting thing is I haven't.
Yeah.
Everybody has a multi-million-dollar following. I've been at this 15 years. I'm just bobbing my head above water. I can't find my niche. Maybe I should do 50-year-old empty nester content.
You know what? With a hard R. Yeah, it's just, and I wasn't trying to be flippant, but there is something really, I post from time to time. Did you see American Beauty, the movie American Beauty?
Long time ago, sure. Kevin Spacey.
Yeah, Chris Cooper's character, who, spoiler, 1999 Best Picture, kills Kevin Spacey in sort of like a homoerotic rage. I post that meme all the time. There's a picture of Chris Cooper like staring at Kevin Spacey towards the end of the movie, where he's kind of admitting that he's gay, and then when he gets rejected by Kevin Spacey, he's overcome with rage and kills Kevin Spacey, because Kevin Spacey isn't gay. That is the energy I get from so many of these leading people, like from Pete Hegseth, from Donald Trump. And when people talk about sexual assault not being about sex, but being about power, that's, that saying.
Yeah, that's a lot of truth.
It kind of fits when you tell me that like Pete Hegseth and Donald Trump have in own ways been accused of abusing women. It fits in terms of like, sure, because it's not about sexuality or attraction. It's about power.
Yes.
And the way these guys, this faux masculinity, this masquerade that we're like, that's running our country. It feels like we've reached an apex of like masculine insecurity running the country. And it's really scary and disgusting and fascinating in a morbid kind of way. Because Donald Trump, is very he's just, look at that guy, he's just central casting. Look at that big tall guy, strong shoulders, isn't he? Oh boy, you don't want to be around him. He's more handsome than anybody. Oh boy. And it's like, yeah, that's my president, with lifts, makeup, sports bra, and talking about how much he loves looking at men. That is what I want in a heterosexual leader, because I'm MAGA and a dumb piece of trash.
Before you go, let me just ask you how you see this absolute shit show of war in the Middle East and where we started. And we must always start the timeline, not with the Shah, the overthrow of the Shah, or the 79 revolution. No, let's just start at Trump tearing up the hard-fought Obama administration Iran deal.
You mean the black Iran deal?
Exactly. So he didn't like the black. You do it.
Oh shit! I did the art of the deal, Pete. I did art of the deal, and Obama didn't do the art of the deal. He put together some piece of crap deal. It took him 2 years to put the show together. It took me 5 minutes to rip it up. So how strong could it be? And
exactly.
When you're making a deal, when you're making a strong deal, you can have brown people on one side. And you've got two browns don't make a right. Or as I like to say, two browns don't make a white. That is how I do deals. And I have made it very white and very strong. And it's going great. It's doing so great right now in Iran. I love the fact that he's like shitting on our armed services, like on the USS Lincoln and their families. And of course, we just hit 40 trillion in debt. And I'm sitting there going, he called himself the king of debt. What a shock that he would run up the country's debt. And he shit on Gold Star families. I can't believe, and called people who volunteer to John Kelly, the suckers and losers. I can't believe that guy's disrespecting our troops and not using them in a sound and respectful and honorable way. It's all been there. He is an open book of stupidity and hate. And the idea that here's, as a climate guy yourself, what it has to bother you a little bit every time this comes up, that no matter what Trump does, gas prices are like people's red line. Donald Trump could be assaulting a MAGA person's daughter on the hood of their car at the gas station. But if it says $2.89 a gallon, they're going to say, I never liked her much anyway. So it's still so creepy that we should be off gas by now. And instead, that's the one thing. He can do everything wrong. And if your tank costs too much, you're like, I was with him with the bigotry and the murdering citizens on the street and the high grocery prices and the rape and the general slurring of his speech and the fact that he wants to have sex with his own daughter and that he's generally unpleasant and obese and gross to look at and a horrible human being inside and out. But now that my truck costs 30% more to fill up because I want to ride a 6-row SUV half a mile to work every day because I'm a disgusting, embarrassing stereotype of an American, now I'm not so sure Trump should get a third term. That's America. That's America. Ain't that America fucking dumb? That's my Cougar Mellencamp impression. Sorry.
That was a great rant.
Wow.
The dates.
Dates.
JL Live, he's all booked up in Connecticut at the end of the month, here in Charlotte, North Carolina at the beginning of September 6th, and Pittsfield, Massachusetts, September 12th, and you can see him in Philly, October 12th, and at the Comedy Loft in Washington, D.C. at the beginning of the year. He's even got dates at early 27. Order a cameo from JL. I got mine for free. It was a roast of Glenn Kirshner. You'll be able to see him talking to Glenn on his show soon. Go join JL's Patreon and support him and his work, and thank you so much for being here. It was really a great appearance. A lot of people are saying it was one of your better appearances.
Experts in terms of audio. We're talking to well-respected scholars in the audio space that say maybe the best. A lot of people I think they might be right. But I'm also coming to Canada and possibly Kingman, Arizona in 2027 as well.
And for those of you watching us live, there's a lot of people, I think there are a lot of JL fans. Come over and support me now at Substack, at Stand Up with Pete. Get yourself a free subscription. I talk to smart, funny people every day. Not everybody's funny, but gravitate towards funny. We try to have fun.
Thank you so much for having me, Pete.
Serious issues. JL, thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Thank you for joining us. Talk to you later. Bye-bye. All right, there you go. My conversation with JL, and go support him. You know all the places, all the ways, all that information in the show notes, as all the information for this podcast, to write a rating and review, all kinds of things you can do to support me and the show, and most importantly, get a paid subscription on Substack or Patreon at Pete Dominic on Patreon, at Stand Up with Pete on Substack. Go check it out, and I will talk to you tomorrow. Have a great weekend, everybody.
When the tyrants taunt you and the sirens teach, you better stand up, stand up. Let the brave meet the challenge, let the meek weak flee. Oh, boy, you better stand up. Stand up. When you're tired of begging, saying pretty please, that's the time you gotta finally get up off of your knees. When you can't see the forest for the burning trees, you got to stand up. Hey, you've been sitting so long, you got the creaky knees, you got to stand up. Stand up. I think you're driving wheels with leaking grease. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. Well, there's a whole lot more of us who know what's right. They'll keep right on ignoring us if we keep sitting tight. You got to open up the window to let in some light. You got to stand up. That's right. You got to rise up. You got to stand up. You got to stare the devil straight in the eye. We got to let him know it's his turn to go. See it clear when all you hear is a lie. So get up off of your butt, get down off of your fence. And even if it ain't a very friendly audience, well, they'll begin to listen when you start making sense. And you stand up. Stand up. No need to point your rifle to defend your town. Just stand up. Stand up. You know they can't deny you what you're laying down. Boy, you better stand up. Stand up. Show your face of every color, yellow, black, red, and brown. See the place where every lost child will finally be found. There's only one thing to do before we stand our ground, and that's stand up. Stand up. Well, the founding fathers saw a land for all. They had to stand up. They had to stand up. They had a keen imagination for a crystal ball, drawing all the plans of a stand up. But all they had to go on was the time they were in, with other causes for laws, and since they weren't even sin, they knew that change was gonna come before the change could begin. They had to stand up. All right, they had to stand up. We got to stand up. We got to look the devil square in the eye. We got to let him know it's his time to go, and make it clear when all we hear is a lie. Why you lying awake wondering where the money all went? It'll be the cost of freedom that'll go unspent. You can see him flee the scene of that experiment if you stand up. All right. We got to speak up, we got to reach up, and raise your voice in every way you know how. Don't be toes up, you got to show up. Ain't no better time to do it but now. No need to pledge allegiance to no wanton tribe. Rise up, show obedience to the voice inside, and listen well and it'll tell you not to run and hide. It says stand up.